Hello, and welcome to episode 40 of the Casual Tryhard podcast. I'm Brian.
And I'm James.
And today we're going to talk about standard, but with the caveat, we're going to talk about not Golos.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about
Golos.
Golos.
A little bit Golos,
Yeah.
But it seems like every other podcast, and everyone's just talking about how great Golos is and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
We want to talk about decks that don't involve Field of the Dead.
Correct.
And just give you what a sense of the rest of the format is.
Mm-hmm.
The 55% of it that is not Golos.
Yeah, we'll talk some numbers a little later.
Yeah. As always, you can reach out to us on Twitter at Casual Tripod.
Yep, you can find us on Facebook at Casual Tryhard MTG. You can email us at show@casualtryhardmtg.com. And you should check out our YouTube page, Casual Tryhard MTG.
If you reach out on Facebook, we gave away an arena code. Someone got a free sealed by being like, hey, I don't have one.
Yeah, I got a whole stack more.
Yeah, we hooked it up. So, interact with us, and you can get free packs on Arena.
Yeah, if you didn't get to your pre-release, please let us know. These things are going to waste otherwise. So
yeah, we can't. You can only use one, so it's not like James and I can just jam like 1,000 seals.
Oh man, that'd be sweet.
Yeah,
they're not a sealed though. They're just 6 packs.
Oh, they're just 6 packs.
Yeah.
Wait, we started out with like you got like a draft or something, right? Then you got a sealed.
Yep.
Then they're like, we don't want you to actually play. Here's 6 packs. Just open these and
here's
be like,
a rare wild card.
Yeah, and be like, yo, man, I just need to fix. I just need to open more packs. I just need to get my play on now.
You know, maybe if we advertise it that way, people will want them. We're giving away rare wild cards for people that didn't go to pre-release.
Yeah, 1 rare wild card minimum.
Yep.
If you didn't go to pre-release. So there we go. Get yourself 1 Shockland. No cash value.
That is correct.
Standard is maybe broken.
Yeah, it seems like that's kind of a reoccurring theme lately, right?
Yeah, and I think that the biggest sign of that was last week. Mm-hmm. Wizards moved the banned and restricted announcement. So we had a banned and restricted announcement.
Yeah, scheduled for after the Pro Tour, right? Or
yeah, but we had it like Monday.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, everything's golden. We got this dialed in.
Yep, no changes, any formats.
And then Wednesday, they were like, in a week and a half, we're going to run this back and try again.
Yeah, we're going to revisit this.
So on October 21st, they're going to have a new banned and restricted announcement because it seems like they may want to remake Standard.
Yeah.
And so if they want to remake Standard, that means there are some things that are wrong with Standard. So what do we see as like being wrong with Standard? What is changed to kind of like break it?
So just today, they released deck lists for the Mythic Championship 5, the Arena Mythic Championship.
Yeah, there's a phrase that I'm going to use now that old modern players and people who played Twin might remember.
Yeah.
In the interest of competitive diversity. Now you can continue.
Yeah. So I went through and made a quick chart and broke out basically a metagame breakdown for this tournament because they gave us the deck lists. And we have some disturbing news here. Bant Golos is 25 out of 68 decks, with 4 more copies of Golos and Golos Fires, and 1 more 4-color Golos. So out of 68 decks, 29 of them are Field of the Dead Golos decks.
No, 30, because of 4-color Golos.
30, yes, 30.
Because Kenji was like, I want all the colors.
Yeah.
Except for whatever one I thought was bad.
So 30 of them.
That was, I did some quick in the head math.
Yeah.
Now I did actual calculator math. That is 44% of the metagame is
Field of the Dead
Field
Golos
of the Dead
decks.
Golos. Which is not normal. Usually people feel like Standard is kind of messed up when it's like 30% of the metagame is one deck.
People usually start complaining when it's 30%, yeah.
Yeah, so the fact that it's gotten to 45%.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's 45% of like your F&M.
No.
This is 45% of people that are playing for $100,000, $50,000, a whole lots of dollars.
And like contracts for Wizards of the Coast and everything else.
Yeah, like it's like if you win it, you stand a good chance of like staying in the MPL
or being put into the Rivals League, or
like you're playing for, the prize money plus you could get a $40,000 contract for a year to like just play Magic.
Yeah.
Or if you're Savitz, not play Magic. But hey,
Whatever.
I'm not bitter. So these are people that are super invested, and they were like, the best thing I can come up with is Golos.
Golos.
So
all Golos all the time.
That is unusual.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, how did we get to everything being Golos? Like, this is kind of a weird deck.
Yeah, a couple things. We've
Okay.
talked about this a few times face-to-face, as well as I think on the podcast, but I don't think we've fully fleshed it out for our listeners. So we're going to kind of talk about all of this from the beginning.
Okay.
Magic has changed a whole bunch in the last year-ish.
Yeah, since Arena went into open beta,
Yeah.
Magic has become very different.
Yeah, they've changed timelines. They've changed the way deck lists are presented or not presented.
They've changed just like the block structure.
Yeah.
Like we don't have blocks anymore.
Correct.
So like this is very different. Like I know that like the Ravnica stuff felt like it was a traditional block.
Right.
But it wasn't. Like
Right.
none of the cards in War really cared about any of the cards in Allegiances. Like the mechanics really didn't carry over. So it's not like a traditional block like you normally would have.
Yeah, not like we used to have, 3-4 years ago, whatever. The timing for everything has changed. The block structure has changed. The way we play games has changed. The way information's presented to us has changed.
Yeah.
Like to the point where you have people like us and people like Arena Decklists that are kind of doing something for the public that like Wizards doesn't do anymore.
Yeah, so it used to be back in the old timey days that basically every deck that 5-0'd on Magic Online, you just got that deck list.
Right.
So you could look at every 2 or 3 days, 70,
Or
80,
more.
100 deck lists, and you could figure out exactly what people were playing and exactly what the metagame looked like.
Right.
And then Standard got broken. That was around like Kaladesh.
Yeah, I think so.
And Standard got broke. And they were like, we think the problem is
Actually, that changed before Kaladesh. I think
Was it?
that was
was it BFZ?
Shadows. It was right when they banned Reflector Mage.
Yeah, so it would have been right around like
It was like BFC Shadows.
Yeah, okay, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, no, they didn't. They banned Emrakul and Reflector Mage because you were marveling into Emrakul.
Oh yeah,
and
you're
they
right.
were
You're
like,
right. You're right.
Hey, if we don't get rid of Reflector Mage, then like all the trash Reflector Mage decks are just going to take over.
Yep.
So anyway, so right around there, they got rid of the deck list, so it was harder for people to figure out what was being played.
Or the flip side of that is they didn't want people to realize how awful a standard format was.
Yeah.
Because you used to be able to get a metagame breakdown just like you do from a GP from Magic Online results.
Yeah, and you would know exactly that, like, 45% of the field is is marveling into Emrakul,
Right.
and then 30% of the field is playing Reflector Mage.
Right.
And, well, that's not fun.
Yeah.
Right? So they wanted to slow down people solving the format by kind of holding back some data. And they wanted to, obfuscate, there we go,
Oh, a big word.
how bad a format was.
Yeah.
Right. Arena, we're playing a ton of games.
Right.
And we're playing a ton of games sooner.
Oh, way sooner.
Right?
That kind of leads into the timing part of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So on Arena, the new set comes out like a week and a half before pre-release or a week before pre-release.
It comes
out the Friday before.
No, it comes out the Thursday before pre-release. The whole set. You can start doing, because the pre-release was like earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Then you had
pre-release is always the Friday before pre-release. That's why they give us the whole set.
Yeah.
So the whole set comes out the Friday before pre-release.
Then there's pre-releases like Tuesday, like the loading ready run thing.
No, it's that Friday.
Is that Friday?
Yeah.
Well, then like the sealed on Arena started the Thursday before.
I think they were sooner than that.
Well, if the whole set comes out on Friday.
I think they were. I think they were up on Arena either Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay.
You could get in.
Maybe. So at least a few days before.
Yeah.
And it's not like people are like, oh, I don't know why I want to play.
Yeah.
They've been brewing decks, and as soon as it comes up, people start like
cashing in
now,
wild cards,
cashing in wild cards and building their decks and
Yeah.
being like, I have my standard deck 6 minutes after.
Right.
Right, even like the fandom event that Brian Gottlieb, I think, won the first one
Yeah.
that he won with Esper Dance. He said the event started at like noon Pacific time or something, and it had only been up on Arena for like an hour, and he had to get on and
get all his cards.
So there was a $4,000 first place tournament that happened within like 3 hours of the set being on
That's
Arena,
insane.
right? Like, hey, here are the new cards.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So we're starting to play a lot of games way sooner.
Mm-hmm. And on top of that, the when's the streamer event? The streamer event's like the week before, right?
I think it's the same week, isn't it? Like,
is it?
Yeah, it's like the same week. They do like the set comes out, and then there's like pre-release, the streamer event, and then it goes live.
Yeah.
So the streamer event, you have people playing standard decks.
Right.
Now,
they're like early access, though.
Yeah, early access, like a couple days before everyone else.
Yep.
And now, granted, it's been described as there's kind of like a truce or an armistice where everyone's like, I'm not going to play removal or counter spells. I'm just going to try to do the dumbest thing I can with these cards, and it will fold to interaction, so please don't interact with me. And everyone's like, deal. You're going to do a big dumb thing. I'm going to do a big dumb thing. And it's going to be entertaining for the viewers.
Yeah.
So it's not real standard, but you get like a sense of like what the like edge is. Mm-hmm. But there are, 30, 40 people playing Magic all day for 12 hours. 2 days before you can get to the cards actually on Arena.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, well, that looked good. I'm going to play that now. Mm-hmm. So we just start, grinding through stuff before like we actually even get pre-release. There's like a metagame set
before pre-release, which is a week before release.
And if you remember, Brian Gottlieb won with Esper Dance,
right? And
then that Sunday was like, that deck's trash, I'm gonna play Golos now,
right?
4 days later, the deck went from my boy Andre Strotsky saying best deck in the format to unplayable garbage. Oh yeah, I won that tournament too.
Yeah.
Someone won $8,000, I think, in standard.
Right.
Before it was actually standard.
Correct. Before any of the cards were legal in paper.
Yes. So what that does is that gives our next little topic here, the machine.
The machine.
Way more time to grind stuff out. So what is the machine?
The machine is all of us. Like we were talking about a little bit ago with the deck list dumps that we used to get. The pros kind of referred to that as the machine, and it's kind of stuck. So we're going to keep calling it the machine. The machine is everybody that is grinding games either on Magic Online or Arena or in paper, trying to get ready for big tournaments. The power of the machine is so much bigger than just one person. If I sit down and play 20 games on Arena, over the course of 2 nights or whatever, that's probably all the games I'm going to get in for a week. Not counting a couple games at F&M or whatever. That's not a whole bunch of testing. But if you take that and multiply that by, 500,000 people doing this, tweeting at each other on Twitter and listening to podcasts like this and however else you're going to digest your content, that adds up to a whole bunch of games getting played in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, you can think of the machine as if you just took all the cards in standard and dumped them into the machine.
Right.
The machine is going to spit out the stack of the 60 best cards by the end of a certain period of time.
Right.
Right. They're going to figure out what the 60 best cards are from the standard card pool, and that is the deck. So the machine makes the best decks and makes the metagame because it's a whole bunch of people doing what you can't do by yourself.
Right. And this kind of follows up the timing thing, because the timing changes that Wizards has made to build hype for a new set by getting cards into our hands early. You can pick up your boxes a week early now in paper.
Yeah.
Even that feeds into this. Because they're building so much hype before the cards are even standard legal, it kind of makes people ravenous to get these new cards in their hand and brew with new decks, which leads to people jamming more games quicker than they normally would.
Yeah.
So the whole machine has been kind of supercharged a little bit.
Before Eldraine came out, I was like, I'm going to leave work at like 2 today. And I'm just going to go like do sealeds.
Yeah.
Because like, why not?
Yep.
My job lets me do that.
Yeah. Actually, we were talking about it when we were filming the pre-release video, right? Mm-hmm. You're like, I'm going to get out of here because I want to go jam some sealeds.
Yeah. And that is not something you had the ability to do before.
Right.
So like you're getting the set to the machine way earlier, and they're going to turn through it.
Right.
And I know at times standard feels big, right? Especially when it's 8-set standard.
Right.
But in actuality, like it's probably 2,400 cards. Of them, there's probably like 23 or 24 that are 22 or 2,300 that are unique.
Yep.
Right? And then of that, there might only be 500
playable
that are
cards.
actually playable in Constructed. Because like,
Could very well be.
right, like 1 and a green 2/2 Vigilance is not going to get played in Standard. Like that card
Correct.
doesn't even get considered.
Right.
Right?
Card barely gets played in draft.
Yeah. Colossal Dreadmaw
Yeah.
in his like 8 printings in the last like 4 sets doesn't get played in Standard. It's not even like considered. So you throw
Right.
all those cards out and you're asking 500,000 people
Right.
to figure out what the best configuration of
500 cards.
500
is.
cards is.
Yeah.
And we're in a small Standard environment now.
Yeah.
So there are really only like 1,500 cards, and there might only be 300 playable cards,
Yeah, if that.
right? So it's pretty easy to have 500,000 people or whatever the number is,
Yeah, whatever the number is.
right, on like r/spikes
Yeah, that's the Reddit. Yep.
is the magic Reddit where the people are churning through deck ideas, and people on like Arena Decklist Discord
Yep.
and tweeting back and forth, or like, hey, I did well with this deck, or you know, you have 4 pros locked in a room because they've got to like
Come up with a deck now.
yeah, to try to make $50,000
Yeah.
or hell, even $4,000.
Right.
So that machine just gets turning way faster.
Yeah.
And
And like we alluded to a little while ago, the current best deck, Golos, was found and tuned like to basically its current look the Sunday before release.
Yeah.
Like during pre-release, the best deck was already found and tuned.
It went from like Esper Dance and Simic and then a deck that just beat all of them
Right.
in like 4 days.
Not even like three
Yeah.
days.
So it is different. Like
Yeah.
that used to not be the case. You used to have more lead time where the good stuff pile deck that was just, what are all the mythics from the recent
Yeah.
3 sets? That's my deck.
Yep.
Right? That deck was good for a week or two because there are people playing Magic Online, but not nearly as many that play Arena.
Yeah, I mean Magic Online's a lot more expensive to play than Arena
Yeah.
is.
So you have so that deck got to be a deck for a while, and then maybe the tuned deck to beat it came around, and then you would get to like the best
Deck. Yeah.
Right, to tell you where we are in Golos, the Arena Decklist podcast, I know we talk about them a lot. They're kind of the metagame setters.
Yeah,
like
they're
with-
kind of the gold standard.
yeah.
That's who we strive to be someday.
Someday.
Hit us up.
Yeah. I want to win $4,000 tournaments.
Absolutely.
But they spent an hour-long podcast arguing about basically the last 7 cards in Golos.
Yeah.
Like, to the point of, do you play Dimir Guildgate? Or do you play Golgari Guildgate? Or, like,
Yeah.
which Guildgate do you go play?
Yeah.
I think Golgari Guildgate is awful. Calm down. The Golgari are fine people. Or, like,
They're my
troglodyte people, right? But whatever. Right? They're fine people. But that's, like, what we're, like, that's where we are with Golos, is we're not arguing the big things a lot of times. It's, like, the things around the edges and...
Your 29th or 30th land or whatever.
Or what 3 cards do I need to have in my deck that give me an edge in the mirror?
Right.
Really? That's where we are in the world, is what gives me an edge in the mirror.
Right.
Yikes.
Main deck.
Main deck. What main deck thing gives me an edge in the mirror? What is
You
my
know what this
plan
reminds
there?
me of?
What?
2 months ago with Hogak.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are good times.
Yeah. What gives me the edge in the mirror? Oh, main deck Leyline.
Sweet.
Yeah. And they banned that deck out of existence.
Yes. So we have the machine churning through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And now what's supposed to protect us?
A new team at Wizards called Play Design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's that working out for you?
Probably not so great. The last couple stanzas have been not good.
Part of it goes back to something that Mark Rosewater said, I think when the Felidor Guardian ban happened, or right around there, which was like, there are 10 of us.
Right.
And we can only play so many games. As soon as the cards are released.
Yeah, there's instantly more games played than they have ever played
Than
with
they've
them.
ever played.
Right.
And they're partly playing games to figure out what the meta game, quote unquote, may look like.
Right.
But they're also playing games and like turning knobs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing is while they're playing, they're turning the knobs. So they might not have ever played a game with whatever makes it to print.
Yeah,
like if the knob gets turned before the file goes off, they might not have ever played a game with
maybe feel the deck said 8 lands.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, we'll make it 7.
Yeah.
Right? And then you're like, and then that's a big deal because now you're getting zombies on turn 4.
Yeah, or maybe the zombies entered tapped or something.
Yeah. But instead, oh god, that'd make it so much because then like the mirrors would just turn into who zombied first.
Yeah, who zombied first. I mean, at least that would like end the game.
End games, yeah. Right? They can't possibly play enough games to figure out exactly what's going to go on. So if something is broken, they might just miss it because they didn't play enough games. And I think another thing that I thought of while sitting here, because we've lost the old block structure, it used to be like you would get a mechanic that was almost there.
And then you'd get the rest of it.
And then you get the rest of it in the next set. So like, a lot of times you would have maybe like for this at food, and you would get half the food cards.
Right.
And then the other good food cards came in the next set. So like
or the set after,
yeah. You would get like one food, or like strong food payoff. Like maybe you get Gilded Goose and then some like reasonable draft uncommon. And then you would get Wicked Wolf in the next set.
Yeah.
And that deck would be okay. And then you would get Oko in the third set. And like
now
food,
the deck's good.
And now the deck's good and food carries through.
Yeah.
Now they kind of have to go like, well, if we want food to be in standard, we have to make cards that are good enough to justify people playing food.
Yeah, that's a good point. I had never thought about
So
that
they're
before.
like-
They're trying
so
to
they-
put everything in one set.
Yeah, so they have to push
Yeah.
that mechanic because they're not going to get another chance to support it. They can't just like randomly throw in a card that makes food in Theros. Right? It doesn't fit. So they'd have to be like, well, here's all the food stuff. We want there to be a food deck in standard.
Yep, good luck.
And I think that's also part of it as well, as I think with play design, they have seemed like they have decided what decks are going to be in standard.
Yeah.
So then they make the cards to put those decks in standard. And maybe they wanted there to be like a ramp deck, and maybe they missed Field of the Dead being super good in that ramp deck. Yeah. But maybe they wanted a ramp deck.
I mean, it makes sense.
And so they were like, all right, let's like put cards in to have a ramp deck.
Yeah.
Well, what's in your ramp? Well, Golos ramps you and is your payoff. Cool, that's what you always want. You want your ramp card and your payoff card to be together. Cool, Golos. And then not realizing, it gets a colorless land and then just makes an army. So it might just be that because we don't have time to spread stuff out and they kind of think that they can pick what decks are in standard.
Yeah. I also kind of feel like they missed the boat, though. Like, they must not have known about this deck because we got a cycle of ley lines with 2 new ley lines, yet no answers for Field of the Dead. Like, ley lines are supposed to be answers to problems.
Yeah, like, you got the black ley line, like, if Emery is too good in standard.
Yeah.
I don't know what the white ley line was there for other than to make it cheaper in Modern.
Probably that's it.
Right, and then the blue ley line, no one wanted.
I mean, it's an EDH card. It ceased playing EDH and was kind of expensive for a minute.
Right. I mean, but that could have been creature tokens your opponent makes enter the battlefield tapped.
Could very well be.
Right. Or like the red ley line could have been like all token creatures deal 2 damage to any token creature that enters the battlefield.
Or it could have been just Perforos.
Yeah.
Whenever a creature enters a battlefield, it deals a damage to any target or whatever.
Yeah, like you could have just made it so.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Mayhem Devil was for a while the answer to Scape Shift, because you're like, Scape Shift you, and they're like, 12 you.
Yep.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So yeah, we just didn't get any answers. So yeah, I don't think they saw this deck. But they may have wanted a ramp deck, and then like Golos was just...
Yeah.
Like Golos or Field was an oops. We probably shouldn't have done this.
See, it was weird too, though, because, I know I had mentioned in our M20 episode that, like, there was no buzz around Field of the Dead.
Or Golos.
Well, that's what I was just going to say, is there was even less buzz around Golos. Like, nobody was talking about Golos.
Like, I just saw Wooburg activation and thought Commander card.
Right, exactly.
I
think everybody else did, too.
I was like, oh, that's a 5-color Commander now.
Yep.
That's cool, and it, like, gets you a land, and okay, nifty. And instead, it's like, oh, this is busted.
Yeah. Going back to what play design does is evidently not a whole lot. Because we have had, like, the most non-interactive, not fun decks to play against in Standard since the inception of play design.
I don't know if there's just, like, some hubris where they think they've got it figured out.
Yeah.
And so they can make these more powerful cards.
Yeah.
Because, oh, it's fine. We've play tested them thoroughly.
Yeah.
They're not broken. And it's like...
Right, like Nexus of Fate.
Yeah, it's like Nexus. Well, we don't want to be able to get it back with Torrential Gearhulk.
Yeah.
It's like, I was like, okay, but that's going to happen for 3 months.
Right.
Right? That had been an awkward 3 months. But then it was 2 years of...
Giving people the tools to dig for it and it just shuffling back into your deck so it's easier to dig for.
Yeah, so it was like a short-sighted answer if it was because they didn't want it to get back, be flashback with Gearhulk.
Yep.
Well, why did you make it an instant? Make it a sorcery. Then it doesn't get flashback with Gearhulk.
Right.
Oh, I solved it. I solved your problem. Without, like, breaking the format.
Yeah. Or, I mean, it could have just exiled.
Yeah, like, a lot of them do.
Yeah, most of them do.
Like, I don't know how much it was, like, flavor, right? Because, like, it was supposedly, like, a flavor thing where...
Yeah, I guess that fits, like, Sarkon's whole time travel thing. That's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah. Still, like, flavor's one thing, but if you break your game and it has a sweet story...
Yeah.
No one's going to play your game.
Right.
Right? If no one's playing your game, they're not going to pay the $5 for your, like... C- fan fiction book that you want them to pay $5 for, right? Like, so you've got to make sure your game works. Mm-hmm. And their whole point was to make sure the game worked.
Yeah, that is the whole reason this play design team exists.
Right? They were like, oh, we messed up Kaladesh. That block was a disaster.
Yeah.
Hey,
let's
play
not
design.
do that again.
And then, like, Ixalan was super powered down.
Super powered down.
Ixalan was like, okay, we've done messed up.
Yeah.
Let's power it down. Now, initially, it didn't look like that. It was like, oh, we're getting back Spell Pierce and some things. Like, oh, this looks powerful. But, like, overall, the set was, like, powered down. Mm-hmm. And then it's just been a slow, like, that was the first set that play design was on, I think.
Yeah.
And then since then, it's just been this, like, slow ratcheting up. Like, Amonkhet was fine. Like, I don't think it was,
I mean, that was still a little powered down other than, like, Scarab God.
Yeah, the Scarab God was not great.
Yeah.
Right? But, like, that set was fine.
Like, even Scarab God, though, like, wasn't game-breaking. It was just that the rest of the format had slowed down to the point where, like, Scarab God could take over a game. You know what I mean?
And then, like, Dominaria... Was Dominaria before Ixalan? I forget.
No, it was after.
Okay. It all runs together.
Yeah. It was Ixalan, Rivals, Dominaria.
Oh, that's because Dominaria just rotated out because we got rid of... Oh, and Teferi. That was a problem.
Yeah, that's right. Teferi.
Good job, guys. Right? But, like, so there's been, like... and then the set started to get more powerful. Mm-hmm. And now I know that we just came off a gold block.
Right.
Block in quotes. So those sets are usually more powerful. But it just seems like there were some really high-profile misses.
Yeah.
And it only takes, like, 1 or 2 cards to miss to really...
Come up the works.
Yeah, like, like 3 mana Teferi. Like that was a miss.
Yes.
And it's just everywhere.
Everywhere. It's just not a fun card to play against. And I think that kind of goes back to my point, is we have had the most non-interactive Teferi decks that go giant, like non-interactive, not fun games of Magic, Nexus of Fate, all of that. They're non-interactive, not fun games to play, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, if you look back to... like the deck that everybody said was best deck in the format that nobody wanted to play against, like Amonkhet era, was that red-black mid-range aggro deck, whatever you wanted to call it. At least that deck like interacted, and the mirrors were interesting, and like it did things.
Yeah, it's not a race to see who can like make 8 zombies first,
Right? Like,
or who can like stick their wilderness reclamation, and then not hand the turn back over.
Right.
Yeah, no, there's been that, and like there's just been like those misses, like Teferi, like Golos. If it was Simic Golos, that deck would be way more easy to deal with, because in post-board games you'd bring in like Disdainful Strokes and Counter Magic, and you would just counter their ramp spell, counter their Golos, and then just have to have like a Brazen Borrower to race like a zombie.
Right.
Or two. Like, you're like, okay, you're at 12, and I need 4 turns to this Brazen Borrower, and you have 2 zombies. I'm going to win that race.
Right.
Okay, cool. But instead, it's like, I can't, if they stick it to Fairy, all the cards I brought in are garbage.
Yeah. It just leads to not fun games.
Yes.
Like, you're making me play on my turn only at instant speed. Well, that's not fun.
Yeah, only sorcery speed, yeah.
Or that's what I meant, only at sorcery speed. Well, that's not fun. And you're getting ahead on board by making land drops. Well, that's not something I can interact with.
Yeah, we've decided that you can't interact with lands for the most part.
Yeah, why can't we have, what was that card? The one that just rotated out. No, the one that just rotated out. The land that blows up
Field
lands.
Field of Ruin.
Yeah, why can't we have Field of Ruin back?
What's really funny is, so we're getting like pwned by Golos, and we lost Field of Ruin, Blood Sun, and Alpine Moon.
Yeah.
They had 3 cards in the last standard that hosed lands because they were like, oh man, if these flip cards from Ixalan, if those lands are too good, we need to have like a safety valve.
Yeah.
So we kind of printed like a 4-mana Tolarian Academy. We really can't have that like breaking.
Right.
So it's all these ways to deal with lands. And now granted, the Scapeshift and Golos decks were still good with those in the format.
Yeah.
And then they went away.
Yeah.
And you're left with like Ashiok. Woo. Also, so we're talking about like Golos. Just brace yourselves for the post Golos world where you just have a bunch of elk.
Yes, that is coming.
Because like the only thing that keeps the Oko decks from just like making elk is the fact that elk died of 45 zombies.
Correct.
Oh, that's an awful lot of elk you have there. Too bad I have way more zombies.
I got a quick question for you.
Sure.
We were looking through the Mythic Championship deck list dump and looking at the data here, and I had come up with 11 Simic food decks, and that's not all of the
Simic
Oko decks.
Yeah, there's some Bant ramp decks that are non-Golos.
They
ramp.
also play Oko too, but just the Simic food decks, there's 11. That's the next most represented deck. So Oko currently is $40.
Yeah.
So what happens when Golos decks go away and every deck needs 4 copies of Oko that's already $40?
Jace Vren's Prodigy.
$100 standard cards?
$100 standard cards.
Yeah.
So Jace was fringe playable in Modern and Legacy when it was $100 in Standard.
Right.
It is like a 3 or 4 of in the best deck in the sideboard of the best deck of Legacy right now, or of Modern right now.
Yeah.
Right. The Paradoxical Outcome Urza just has 4 Oko because Collector Oof.
Yeah.
Oh no, Elk.
Elk. I drew a card and made an elk.
Yeah. Cool. Like
I'll do this all day.
Yeah, I have an elk now, and it makes artifacts that tap for Urza.
Yep.
Like, it just does everything that deck wants to do. It answers out, because you don't care about a 3/3. You're like, I'm going to make 10,000 Thopters, and then I'm going to cast my entire deck.
Right.
And I'll beat you with something.
Something along the way.
The Nexus of Fate, one of is in my deck.
Eventually, I'll take all the turns.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
But, like, that card right now is in demand for Modern.
Right.
And there are 11 decks or 15 decks, let's say, that are playing it.
Mm-hmm.
So even, like, if you think about it, like, Oko is probably another quarter of the metagame right now.
Currently, yeah.
Yeah, just Oko stuff. And we didn't go through the Golos list to see how many of them were on, like, an Oko to Fairy split.
Yeah, I'm sure some of them are.
Yeah. So, but Oko's 25 to 30% of the metagame.
Mm-hmm.
Does that go to 45%?
It could.
Right? Like, is it just going to be a race to who can go, like, Gilded Goose Oko?
It might.
Yeah. So that's where Standard is.
Yep.
And so there are a bunch of things that might exist that don't involve Oko.
So just to clear this up real quick, the general consensus is that Field of the Dead is getting the axe, right?
Yes.
That's what I believe. That's what you believe. That's what most of the pros believe.
I think that if you have 45% of your premier tournament be one card.
Right.
Or two cards, Field and Golos.
Yeah.
You have to ban one of them, and banning Golos means you can miss.
Right.
Banning Field...
Oh, you mean like banning Bridge from Below out of Hogak?
Yes. If you ban Golos, right, the deck only has access to 4 fields as opposed to 8.
Well, that's not necessarily true because you have Elvish Reclaimer.
Oh, God, that's right. That is also... So, yeah, like, so you have Elvish Reclaimer.
Yeah.
Right? I forgot about that as a card. Like, God...
The best card in your Legacy deck you forgot about?
It is the best card in my Legacy deck. Again, play design.
Yeah.
The best card in my Legacy deck was printed 3 months ago.
Right.
How is that possible?
In a core set.
25 years of Magic. I think the best card in my Legacy deck is 3 months old.
Yeah, it's not your $400 Mox Diamond.
No, it is not. It is probably the 1/2.
Yeah.
With crop rotation, if they put onto it, that becomes a 3/4. Right, like, there's just been so many pushed cards recently.
Yeah.
That it's just like, what are you guys doing? Are we becoming Yu-Gi-Oh? Like, calm down.
I mean, that's kind of what it seems like.
Yeah, so yeah, like, if you don't ban Field, you can miss.
Yes.
People start playing Elvish Reclaimer, they play Beanstalk Giant, they play anything that says ramp on it,
right,
or get a land, and they still just make zombies. Because you just need a field.
Yep.
And then you start making zombies. And every time you ramp, you thin your deck.
Yep.
Like, if they don't ban Field and they ban Golos, they're dumb.
Yes.
Now, a lot of pros have talked about, well, while you're at it, ban Oko.
Oh, really? Already?
Sam Black, LSV, PV, I think Sigrist.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people have just been like, if you're going to ban Field or Golos, ban Oko, because what's going to happen is exactly what we're describing.
Yeah.
Is the Great Hen looks really sweet. It's an elk.
Right.
Oh, cool. Oh, hey, I'm playing this cool, like, self-mill deck so I can play the Cauldron elk. And so, like, ooh, I'm going to reanimate a Dracoseth elk. And it's like, people were talking about, like,
Or trade for it.
Well, you can't trade for a Dracoseth because it's got power greater than 3.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, you had all these people that were like, yeah, we tested this or this, but if we did this, it just got elked.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't do that. So it's like you, like, either lose to Field or you lose to elk.
Right.
But you can't. So, like, it's this weird thing. So we might just end. They're like, so a lot of people are like, if you're going to take the time to, like, do a banning, just fix the format, because you know that as soon as you ban Golos, it's $100 Okos.
I mean, it makes sense, though. Like, Beast Within is a card that existed and is basically Okos +1.
I guess I hadn't thought of it as just being Beast Within.
It's better than Beast Within because you get to do it every turn.
Yeah, like, okay, so I feel dumb now, right? Beast Within is 3 mana, turn something into a 3/3.
Well, yeah, turn anything into a 3/3.
Turn anything into a 3/3.
Oko's not anything, but
creature or artifact.
Right.
But still, it's a 3. It's Beast Within.
It's Beast Within, yeah.
I had not thought of it like that. Yeah, it's a beast within that you at least, with just that beast, you get to beast at least 2 things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just double beast within.
Yeah, beast within, like, sees modern play.
Yes, Oko sees modern play.
Yeah.
Oh my god, can you imagine, like, in Living End, you just play Oko?
Oh.
You don't cascade into it, you just play it like...
That is correct. You don't cascade into it.
Like, I guess you can't get a Leyline of the Void, but you can get a lot of stuff with it.
Yeah.
Like, they bring back a bunch of creatures, and you're just like, elk that one.
That one's gross. Elk.
Yeah, and we're good here.
Yep.
Right. What is kind of the current non-Golos metagame / like life after Golos look like in Standard, do you think?
Well, I think that's what we're about to try and figure out.
Yes.
Live and on the air.
There we go.
Fires is a deck.
Yes, Fires of Invention.
Yep. I'm not exactly 100% sure what it looks like. I think the best minds in Standard right now are on Golos, so they're not super working on Fires.
Yes.
There
is a Golos Fires deck where you just like smush
Right.
those guys together.
Yeah. I don't think the right version of Fires of Invention has been found yet.
No, because like it doesn't consistently beat Golos.
Right. There's the Cavalier version that runs Cavalier of Flame and Cavalier of Gales, because 4 into 2 5-drops that you then can pump because you haven't used your mana to give haste. It seems pretty good.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah. There's also a Planeswalker version with Fae of Wishes that lets you tutor like non-Jeskai Planeswalkers from your sideboard, like Garruk or Nicol Bolas, and then play them for free with Fires.
And it also gives you access to more like sweepers.
Yeah, and it uses Sarkhan just to make all your Planeswalkers dragons.
Yeah, it's like the Jeskai Planeswalker deck from last season or 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
But you just get to, you play your Fires, you play your Drawn from Dreams.
Yep.
And you get 2 things, and then you're like almost guaranteed to just go like Planeswalker on turn 5.
Yeah.
Or like Sarkhan, Time Wipe, make a dragon.
Yeah. Gross.
So like you get 10 mana to play whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
So that is weird. Like,
yeah.
Fires is another card that is kind of uninteractive and non-intuitive.
Yeah.
The number of times my opponent has like activated Castle Ventress,
mm-hmm.
and I've thought like, whew, that ate their whole turn, and then I'm staring at 10 mana worth of stuff.
Oops.
I'm like, oh, no, it didn't eat their whole turn.
That's right.
That's right. They just get to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
They can only do 2 of it.
Yeah.
They get to do whatever they want.
It turns out Omniscience that only lets you put 2 things into play is still good.
Yeah. Like Omniscience with a drawback.
Yeah.
So yeah, that card is busted.
Yep.
And it is kind of cheap right now.
Right now it is cheap.
It's
I was going to say like $3, I think.
Yeah, like it's not very much.
Yeah.
So like I think I have like 7 or 8. Like it might be a
I think
card
I have 6.
that like maybe you get a few of.
There you go. This is a gift to all of our beloved listeners.
There you go.
Spec on Fires of Invention. That way when it spikes, you can sell them all and buy your Okos.
There you go. Also, Fires is like currently Fringe Modern playable.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen this list.
It's been laying around a bit. What is the card from Amonkhet that lets you cast your spells for free? That like you put a counter on it. It's
As Foretold?
As Foretold. As Foretold and Fires. So all the free spells from like the Time Spiral block and LSV was trying to do like as like Fires of Invention turns.
Oh yeah.
So there's the it's not Moment's Peace, I forget what it's called. It's like a 3 mana Time Walk or 4 mana Time Walk that doesn't let you untap your lands.
It's 3 mana, yeah.
Yeah. Well, doesn't matter because I don't need my lands.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't let you untap anything.
Okay.
If you skip your untap phase. Yeah, still doesn't matter.
Take a turn.
Yeah.
Take a turn. Take a turn.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. There are all these cards that are like busted because you can't cast them.
Yeah.
Well, this lets you just like
cast them.
Fires play Restore Balance.
Gross.
Cool. Fires cast Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
Reload. Run it back.
Yeah.
Like, what do? I'm going to wheel, and I'm going to take a turn. My deck's all Time Walks and dumb shit. Like, I will find a way to win this game. I will play Ral Zarek, and plus, and then I will down take my Ralzeric, and I will copy my Time Walk, and I will take 2 turns.
Oh, man.
Right. So there's that. So that card is might go up substantially.
Well, if that's the case, maybe the spec is some of the special versions then, either pack foils or like the extended art ones.
The extended art ones are only like $8.
Yeah.
Which is surprising but it's, I guess, like tier 2 standard deck, but it's still weird. That's another thing, like the collector packs have really done weird stuff to like foils and premium cards. Like it's just weird.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
So we have the Cavalier version, the Planeswalker version.
There's probably an unfound version.
Nebulous third version that's probably better than both of them.
Yep.
That just no one has worked on. The machine has not gotten to yet.
Correct. It would not surprise me if there was a better version than both of these. Both of these decks were in Jeskai. Maybe it's not even a Jeskai deck. I actually have seen posted a couple times a Grixis Fires deck.
Yes, I've played against that. Where it's the same kind of thing, but you're like 5-mana Walker is just Bolas.
Right.
And you still got Fairy, Fae of Wishes and stuff. I haven't played against it in a while. I think just it might have gone out of favor because like
Golos is everywhere.
Yeah, like my Golos deck I didn't feel like I had a great matchup against those like Fires decks, but again, part of the reason I'm not playing Golos right now is, as I was telling someone at the store, like, I don't like the fact that, like, Monday, the right deck is Kenrith as the breaker, and then Tuesday, Kenrith is trash, we're doing this now, and then Wednesday, it's like, no, it was this, and then Wednesday at 8 p.m., it's like, no, you idiots, we're on this now, and I'm like...
I mean, I also don't want to put a bunch of time into a deck that probably isn't going to exist for the next big tournament that we're going to.
Yeah, but even when it wasn't even after the no bans, like it wasn't like the deck just seemed to change so like the best version, and it's like I don't want to chase this, like it just seems silly. Okay, so there's that. So the next thing up is what felt like should be like just a draft mechanic.
Turns out it's better than people thought,
and that is adventures.
There's 3 different versions of the deck right now. 2 of them are kind of close. There's a green-black and a green-white version. Black gets you Murderous Rider and Rankle. White gets you like Giant Killer, Shepherd of the Flock.
Yeah.
So they play a little bit different games. The green-black version's probably just a little slower. The green-white version's probably just a little more like tempo or aggro. The green-white version also plays Loxodon. I got blown out by that card on Arena a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just nuts.
You venerated Loxodon? Just put a bunch of counters on their stuff?
Yeah. It was gross.
Yeah, so the way these decks work, the reason that they're base green is so you've got 2 cards that kind of are the engine.
Yeah.
And that is Edgewall Innkeeper, that you draw a card whenever you cast a creature with an adventure.
Yeah, so the creature half of the spell.
Yeah, so it's a 1/1 for 1.
Yep.
That draws you a card every time you play one of your adventure creatures. And then there's Lucky Charm.
Lucky Clover.
Yep. Oh, more Lucky Charms. That pays you for casting the adventure side by doubling the spell.
So not all of the green, black, and green, white lists play Lucky Clover.
Like, that's the only card that I lose to in those decks.
The Innkeeper, a lot of times, is enough to like make it worth it.
Yeah.
I've seen a whole bunch of lists that aren't running Lucky Clovers.
That's the only card that, like, I've been playing, like, a blue-red, like, counterburn deck, and I'm just like, shock that nerd, right? Like, we don't have an Abrade, so I'm like, I can't kill stupid artifacts in my blue-red deck. But that's the only card that I feel like matters. Like, I feel like the deck's like a good to mediocre, like, mid-range deck if you don't have one of those 2 cards.
Right.
If you have one of those 2 cards, it's like an honest-to-God deck.
Yes.
But if you don't, your deck's just like
a pile of draft.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, like some questing beasts and a rankle.
Yeah, it's like sweet. I can beat those cards. I will deal 3 damage to that rankle. All right, cool, we're good.
Yeah, the green black and the green white version are both a little bit closer to like a true mid range list.
Yeah,
there is a red black version that everybody that listens to this podcast should know about because I loved this deck for like 2 weeks.
You moved the market in Myrtle Beach on it too.
I sure did. That deck has kind of fallen out of favor a little bit though, and it's also like the rest of the format has moved on a little bit. So I think it's time when the sun is done.
Yeah, probably.
But it was sweet for a minute.
You could carry over some of the stuff. Like I think that like Spawn of Mayhem could fit kind of in the rankly spot if you wanted something bigger.
Yeah.
There's a little more resilient to the removal being played.
Right.
In the green blacklist. There's some stuff you could port over.
Yep.
But yeah, so that deck, like those decks all, like I said, they kind of run on, they have an engine that like just gets out of control. Like if you Innkeeper and then play like, you know, next turn you play like Foulmire Knight and you draw a card, or like, you know, whatever, Smitten Swordmaster, whatever cards are in there. There's also a Jund version.
Is there?
That I killed me from 14 in one turn. They had 2 Lucky Clovers.
Yep.
They cast 2
Bonecrusher Giants?
Bonecrusher Giant, the adventure side, whatever that is. Smush or whatever it is. Stomp. And
Smush.
And dealt me 12 and then attacked.
Oof.
And I was like, well, man.
Yeah, that's gross.
I thought I was going to win this game. Like, I was like, oh, I'm so good. And then I lost.
I feel like the mana's got to be awful for that, though.
They're playing Beanstalk Giant.
Okay.
Because the interaction of Beanstalk Giant with Lucky Clover is like A+.
Route. Yeah.
Yeah, but the land's coming to play untapped.
Yeah.
And it's a turn earlier.
Right.
That works out well for them when they get to do that, and it lets them fix their mana.
Yeah, I would guess so.
Next up are like the ramp decks.
Yeah, so there's 2 different versions of ramp deck, right? We have a Simic ramp and a Bant ramp.
Yeah, this is the deck that I called as being like clearly the best deck in New Standard.
Yeah.
Right, just the Nissa and the Hydroid Krasis interaction with Goose and Oko.
Yeah.
Like it just deals with everything.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It's still going to be good.
If it becomes the big thing you get to do, it will be a good deck. But right now, it's just that Golos is so much bigger that it doesn't matter.
Yep. So here's another quick spec target. Probably not much of a spec target because it's already kind of expensive. But Once Upon a Time sees play in the 2 better versions of the adventure deck and both versions of the ramp deck.
Yeah.
And Simic Flash and probably whatever mid-range deck comes out of this.
The extended art foils are already $75. I hate my life. I haven't bought them yet.
Well, the regular ones are like $11.
Yeah, I have 2, but I want the fancy ones because I think they go on the Legacy deck.
Probably.
And they're so expensive.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get to play Legacy again, so I don't want to like go all in. This is just ramp into Krasis.
Yeah.
It probably would play things like Cavalier Thorns to like bridge you.
Yep.
And the Wicked Wolf to bridge you and be removal.
Yep. I mean, that kind of plays over the top of like the food and the flash decks. Like they kind of overlap some.
The advantage of being Bant is you don't have to worry about counter spells because you Teferi people.
Yeah, you play Teferi.
So the Simic Flash deck, Vomit, is the same garbage deck from last season where it's a get ahead, stay ahead. It's like stick a 2/2 and pray.
Right.
And sometimes their draw is a 2/2 and then like 6 counter spells and you never resolve a spell.
You never resolve anything.
Right. Or they like play like a Brineborn Cutthroat that ends up being like a 10/9.
Right.
Because you just resolved no spells that whole game. And you're like, well, that was fun.
They did get Brazen Borrower to catch them back up, though. Like if they get on the back foot, Brazen Borrower can bounce something. And then
they can counter it on its way back down.
Yeah.
And they also got the stupid 2/2 flash reach guy that you pay X to put X counters on when a creature comes into play.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about him.
So, like, I've had a few times where I've, like, blocked one of those, and then they flashed in something.
Oh, gross.
And then they've pumped it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, all right, well, cool.
Yeah, that's gross.
But, yeah, so that deck kind of relies on, like, needs counter spells to be good, so it has a Teferi problem.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the deck has a hard time winning if a Teferi resolves. Like, you know, even something is, like, Teferi bounced their thing. Well, now they can't attack your Teferi.
Right.
You get a plus on it, and you get, like, carte blanche to do whatever you want the next turn. And you're like, resolve a 4-mana spell. And they're like, well, I can never win. You resolved a 4-mana spell. I guess this game is over.
Yeah.
Oh, but I tried so. My 2/2 tried so hard. So, and then there might be, we have down here like some sort of like Sultai mid-range. It's probably like kind of the food deck or just some like blue-green, and you have like black for Assassin's Trophy, or like you
Murderous Rider, Garruk, whatever.
Yeah, or you go bigger and you play Casualties of War or something. Yeah. You may notice a theme here.
Yeah,
We're
blue
talking
and green
about
are
a
pretty
lot
good.
Of blue and green cards, and it's because it's like green right now is just giving you so much mana.
Yeah.
And then blue is letting you draw cards with it, like in the form of like Krasis.
Right.
And also blue has like one card that negates the stack.
Right.
And one card that negates creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine if like Teferi is just like every turn you just drew 2 cards a turn and one of them was silence. And just every one of your turns you were just like silence. And they can't counter that silence. It's just silence. You can't do anything. Watch me.
Yeah.
All right, I'll watch you. And then you just you're like, this was fun.
Yeah, fun and interactive games of Magic.
Yes. There's again, we said Simic Food. There's some.
Yeah. And Simic Food is basically like Oko, Wicked Wolf stuff, right? Am I missing something?
Yeah, this Oko, Wicked Wolf, you're trying to like turn to your Oko with a Gilded Goose.
Gilded Goose.
And you can get your Gilded Goose with Once Upon a Time.
Right.
That's why Once Upon a Time's also played in the adventure text, is because like I said, your deck is like a trash mid-range deck if you don't have Innkeeper.
Yeah.
Well, you get to look at your top, if you're on the draw, 13 cards.
Yeah, you're gonna find one
to get your like Innkeeper, and if you don't, you're just like, well, that was super unlucky.
Yeah.
You just have so many looks at this like super impactful card, right? Or you can keep a hand that's like Innkeeper swamp, and you're like, I'll hit a forest, it's fine.
For free.
I'll just hit this forest for free. So going forward, it's probably going to be some sort of rampish deck or blue-green deck. Like, I know people are like high on mono red, but like I don't know if it has the tools to beat like the food decks.
So.
The reason it's good against Golos is there's a lot of times that Golos doesn't do anything meaningful until turn 4.
Right.
And if you don't do anything meaningful until turn 4 against a mono red deck,
you're dead. Or
at least you're at like 6.
Right.
And then you're sweating every draw step.
Yeah.
But if you're playing against a deck that's like actually playing lands and spells on the first couple turns of the game, like a blocker.
Yeah. Anything
right?
that blocks.
Yeah, like Wicked Wolf. I don't know if Wicked Wolf can, like, I don't know if you can beat like a Wicked Wolf if you're mono red.
Probably not.
Hard 2-for-1 you.
Yeah.
Go.
You certainly can't beat like a Wicked Wolf into like Night Pack Ambusher.
Or Wicked Wolf into like Nissa.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah.
You're like, Wicked Wolf, eat your thing. Okay. Next turn, you can't attack. Nissa, make a 3/3.
Yeah.
Okay, I can never win.
Right.
Those decks might go away. Because, like, while mono red has been good a lot, we're in, like, super small set standard. There's not all those, like...
It doesn't have all the tools it normally does.
Yeah, it doesn't have all those, like, random, like, 1-mana, 1/1s with, like, stupid abilities that you get to, like, make the aggro draft environment work. So it's missing all those, like, random commons.
Yeah.
So if you're going to spec, probably blue and green cards.
Yeah. Oko, like, if you think it's going to stick around, Oko's probably going nowhere but up.
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time.
And then I guess we're going to throw out a red card. Fires.
Yep.
I think Questing Beast has some room to go up, but they're already like $18 or $20.
Yeah, I think they're $20.
Right. That's a hard like spec target when it's not going to get played in really any other formats.
Yeah.
I've been playing blue-red, so that's a thing.
Yeah, that
it's
deck's
not
sweet.
One of these things.
That deck is sweet. Have you tried the Kenriths in that deck, Royal Scions?
No, I've not tried it in there. Because there's the blue-red like draw extra cards deck.
Yeah.
I tried to play, and I might just be bad, I tried to play the Boo Hoogland teamer list that our resident Pro Tour participant, Greg.
Him and McRae both top-8'd this.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it or not.
So he told me about the list.
Yeah.
I went, and I like put it together on Arena, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to play some best-of-1 games, see how it feels. Couldn't beat anything. It just felt awful. And I was like, how did this win any games? I like almost messaged Greg and was like, deck's trash, dude. Like, I don't know how many games you got in with it, but deck feels awful. And then he like top-8'd. So it shows what I know. But it just felt like in the like 6 games I played, I was just like, this is embarrassing. Like, what am I even trying to do?
The Boo Hoogland special.
Yeah. That is another like kind of classic early metagame deck. It's like, what are all the mythics?
Put them in a pile. Shuffle them up.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like Skargan Hellkite.
Yeah.
And Questing Beast. And the Royal Scions. And Oko and
Well, I just thought like the Royal Scions in your deck in particular might be neat.
give you a clock.
A big clock, but also trample. It's
Yeah.
+2/+0 and trample, so your Bone Crusher Giant
Gets through stuff.
gets through. Your Brazen Borrower gets through.
Yeah. It's really come down to a lot of times. So the deck we're talking about is Arena deck list. Again, we're pimping these people.
Yep.
They'll get royalties. They made like a series of like, it was like dumpstering Golos.
Yeah. There's
With,
three
like,
decks they did.
Three
I
decks.
think.
They did blue-red. They did
Dimir.
mid-range. And like Mardu Knights.
Yeah.
Or Grixis Knights.
I think it was Grixis Knights.
Yeah. I had been playing blue-black kind of tempo-y.
Mm-hmm. We talked about it on the podcast a couple weeks ago, I think.
And so, the deck didn't seem like it had enough of a clock.
Yeah.
And like the mana was too bad.
Right.
I never listed the Magic Aids deck, but had like a blue-red deck that was super hard targeted to Golos. It was just like negates and essence capture. It was just all counter spells.
Yeah.
Brazen Borrower and Bone Crusher Giant.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, maybe I'll work on that to like figure out, because like his list couldn't really beat anything else.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, let me see if I can figure something out. And then as soon as I made that decision, like this video came out.
Mm-hmm.
That was like just this blue-red counter burn deck. So it plays Ionize and it plays Ral's Outburst, which like I secretly have a soft spot for that card. Like it's just great.
You're just waiting for it to be good.
Yeah. And then we had talked about in pre-release that the fact that Brazen Borrower and Bone Crusher Giant just gave you your 2 and your 3 drop was really good. Like you just got to draw cards with them. So, like, there's a bunch of cards in the deck that just replace themselves, quote unquote. Like, 2 mana shock your thing, draw a 4/3.
Mm-hmm. Seems pretty good.
Bounce your thing, draw a 3/1.
Yep.
And the deck's able to, like, turn the corner pretty quick. Like, flash in a Borrower, 3U. Next turn, like, flash in a Borrower, cast a shock, 6U, and they're, like, almost dead.
Right.
So
puts people on the back foot really quick.
Yeah. So it's been fun. I don't know if the sideboard's right, but...
Well, you kind of have to know what the metagame is in order for the sideboard to be right, and there's no point building a sideboard for a deck that's not going to exist in the week.
Yeah. I know I said this beforehand, and this goes back to the standard format, that I think, before the podcast is, I think the thing that's missing is Spell Pierce, which is super random. Like, you have to play Mystical Dispute in that deck because you can never beat Oko and you can never beat Teferi.
Yeah.
But then, like, Mystical Dispute's, like, not dead, but, like, it eats your whole turn against, like, a Golos Circuitous Route.
Yeah.
Since you can't get the 1 mana option for it. So you're in this weird spot where you can't, like... You'd be able to, like, flash in a Brianborn Cutthroat, Spell Pierce, and have a 3/2, and then be able to, like, start applying pressure.
Yeah.
And now you just have to be like, well, I'm going to tap all 3 of my mana and Mystical Dispute this.
You know, both of the spells that you were just talking about are blue Planeswalkers. Yes. I wonder if there's some other card that should be in the format that just targets blue Planeswalkers.
Did we have one recently?
I don't know.
There's
what was Jace's Triumph?
Like that you drew cards? Wasn't it like a divination?
I don't remember.
So I think it was like a divination or something.
Okay.
Well, there was the Jace's Defeat was like counter a blue spell and then draw a card if you control it.
Oh, yeah.
If it's a Jace or something. But yeah, like there's no reason.
Jace's Triumph is divination.
Yeah. Like you don't want to like put Fry in your deck.
Right.
Because Fry doesn't kill Oko. If they +2 the Oko, if they make a food...
Well, you also can't play at instant speed versus Teferi, so it still doesn't kill Teferi.
Well, at least you can kill it on your turn.
Yeah.
But, like, you can't kill an Oko with it. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to give you a targeted hate card for blue and white garbage. Cool. Here's some blue and white garbage that you can't kill with it.
Right.
Why did you give me this card? Why are you teasing me? The deck is reasonable, but it does have, like, the same as, like, the flash, to make flash problem is, like... Yeah. Teferi is super backbreaking. Yeah. Though you can, like, you know, flash in a Borrower, they're compelled to bounce it. Then, like, your next turn is, like, stomp it. Yeah. And then you're not down a card, really. And then you're down a card because they drew a card off their bounce spell.
Yeah, whatever.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But, like, you're not, like, totally 2 for 1.
Right, you're down portions of a card.
Yeah, but you're not down a whole card.
Yeah.
So, like, there are ways to deal with it, but it is make it difficult. But you, like, it plays 3 main deck Mystical Disputes because, like,
Because you have to.
Yeah, because like if someone goes like breeding pool goose, like, oh god, if they play an Oko, like what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
And like the fact that you plus Oko to 6 and then you plus Oko to 7 or 8, like, what am I supposed to do?
You're just never killing it.
Yeah, like why did you make this unkillable?
You need a vampire hex mage.
Another card I would gladly take in this format.
That card would actually be great in this format, right?
Yeah, Jim Davis wrote like a giant article and like had out a tweet about like what cards could you design and like share designs from other people, but just like something that's like remove the counters because like this Liliana, like what's the like 1 black remove price of betrayal.
Yeah.
Remove 5 loyalty counters from like a planeswalker. Doesn't kill Oko. It killed 5 mana Teferi, and it killed 3 mana Teferi after a plus. Doesn't kill Oko.
Yeah, that's tough.
Like what do we do? Can't fry it. Can't like you've got a murderous rider it.
Yeah.
Or you've got a noxious grasp it. Or I guess you get to play Prison Realm.
Yeah, that's not where you want to be either, though.
And then they play their Teferi, bounce their Prison Realm plus their Oko again, and then you have to Prison Realm their Teferi. And you're like, oh, I'm in the same place, but they're up a card, and I'm down 2 turns.
Yeah.
Yay. The blue-red deck is sweet, though.
Yeah.
It is interactive.
It is interactive.
We are on Arena time.
Yeah.
I've already told you what I've been playing on Arena. Blue-red. I've not been playing a ton. I usually get my couple wins and then get my 4 wins and then like bow out gracefully. I did finally put up the data sheet. Like I was able to go through Goldfish and like make the metagame. I did like group some decks together.
Yeah.
So there was like green-black advance. They had like 2 different versions of Golgari Adventures, and I don't know why.
I don't know either.
But I was like, well, I'll make green, black, and Jund the same.
Okay.
Just because you might not realize you're playing against Jund. Like if they don't get their if they don't get their stomping ground or their blood crypt or whatever. I made the ramp decks. I had Golos ramp or Golos decks and then non-Golos ramp. Yeah. And like I didn't differentiate like Simic from Bant because they're effectively the same thing.
Might as well be.
And like the mono reds, there's like the Aaron Barrich mono red decks, and then there are the Cavalcade red decks.
There's also like a big red deck that I ran into once yesterday or the day before. I mean, it was mono red, but it was like Bone Crusher Giant into like Skargan Hellkite. Yeah. Didn't mess around with any of the little stuff.
Which, seems semi-reasonable.
Yeah.
But everything else is just pretty much like straight down Goldfish. I think I got their top 15 or 16 decks are on there. Like I said, some kind of smushed together we have like 13 slots. We can at least see what this week looks like and kind of get back in the habit of it. Yeah. And, if we are wrong and the top 8 of the MCQ isn't just...
I hope we're not wrong.
All robot all the time.
Yeah.
Then come next week, we'll at least be like reasonably used to putting data in and we can start to like get something to look at.
Yeah. And data is going to be really important if Field does get the axe because we're going to need to know what the format looks like.
Yeah, where everyone runs to.
Yeah. So that will be important. So make sure you're putting your data in.
Yeah, so that'll be good.
Did you play in the metagame challenge at all?
I did not.
I did not either.
I don't know. There's part of me that was like, I can play for free.
Yeah.
Or I can like risk it for the biscuit and like.
I mean, usually I like those things, but I really haven't found my place in Standard yet. This Standard. Yeah. So I wasn't really keen on dumping a bunch of money into playing something that I wasn't sure about.
And I think just the fact that you're probably going to play a ton of Golos. Yeah. Right? So, like, then you've got to, like, play your, like, Golos metagame deck. Right. That's good against Golos, and you just hope doesn't, like, get straight up slaughtered by everything else. Yeah. It's not something I've done. I'm like, I did break down and play a few drafts. Yeah. And
you said the bots are broken.
I think they're... So my experience was I played one draft where I played Mill in back-to-back games.
Oh, boy.
And Mill's like good with a Merfolk Secret Keeper. Yeah. Plus run away together.
Oh, yeah. You bounce it, do it again.
And you're just like, this is great. Yeah. And then like green-black, it just seems like you can get it whenever you want it. Mm-hmm.
Not high in the pick order for the bots.
Really good. Like I went like 3-3, I think, with a green-black list that was, I had 4 Tempting Witch. Mm-hmm. I had an Innkeeper, 3 Curious Pair,
Oh, man.
a Trail of Crumbs, a Wicked Wolf.
All right.
Like, it was bonkers. I was like, huh. And apparently, LR was saying they're getting screenshots of people with 5, 6, 7 Reeve Souls in their deck.
Wow.
Because, like, they just don't take it. And apparently you can get, like, almost lax pick Revenge of Ravens. They're like 3 cards in the pack and you get a Revenge of Ravens.
Wow.
So they were like, that so low in the pick order is like every 3rd game or something you're playing against a Revenge.
Man.
And there were multiple times that me and my opponent both had a Revenge of Ravens. And I was just like...
That makes it awkward.
Like, this is just, like, dumb.
Yeah.
Like... And so then it like comes down to like who's gonna mill first.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this is no fun.
Nobody's attacking anymore.
Or who has more tempting witches to like deal damage, and then like foreboding fruit. You draw. I killed someone. I fruited them out. I was like, you're at 1, fruit you. And it was like, there we go. It was like Mrs. Doubtfire. What a run by fruiting! So we had a Mrs. Doubtfire sighting. Actually, what that's called from now on, the Doubtfire.
The Doubtfire.
There we go. I'm gonna Doubtfire you.
I'm pretty sure we just went way over the heads of most of our listeners.
Robin Williams is great. He was an American treasure.
Yeah. You'll definitely have to tweet that one out, though.
Yes, it's a run by fruiting. But it just seems like the bots aren't doing a good job in this format.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been.
Well,
like,
I mean, it always takes
yet.
a while for them to like adjust, right?
Yeah, but it seems like they're like, from what LR was said, and it just seems like they're like particularly broken. And now I was playing. I was like, I'm just gonna like easy peasy play like the best of 1 draft. It's like the ranked draft.
Yeah.
Made it to silver. Oh,
nice. Good job.
That was like the first limited I played on Arena in like 9 months. But like the problem with the best of 1 stuff is it's just a lot of like not real draft strategies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like ginger brute into like play 2 equipment and hope that you don't like.
Oh, don't tell me that's not a real draft strategy. That's all I want to do is ginger brute into rose thorn thing.
The problem is like game 2, hopefully, which I'm doing now, like they have drafted artifact removal and they're just like, kill your ginger brute. And then what?
But it's a ginger brute.
It is. He's still an artifact. Like I did a paper draft and I lost to Revenge of Ravens because I didn't have any enchantment removal in my set. I was green-white and I didn't have either piece. And I was like, well, that'll never happen again.
Yeah.
The one I did well in that I 7-1 was mono white because I just got like all the rares and all the uncommons.
Yeah.
I played 2 main deck True Love's Kiss.
Whew.
I was like, I need some cards and this always has a target. Let's get there.
I am not going to lose to ginger brute.
I'm not going to lose to ginger brute. Thing you will lose to, Cauldron Familiar with a stupid
Witch's Oven?
Stupid giant skewer.
Oh,
you can't block it.
Yeah.
You're like block trade. They're like, sack my food that I just got. Get him back.
Get it back. Re-equip.
Go. And it's like, well, I just like, that's the abyss. Okay, now I'm just taking 3. I had someone like Voltron up, had like the halberd, 2 skewers on their thing. And I was just like, well,
man,
take 8.
It's boggles.
Yeah, it's like, I can kill your boggle, but you just bring it back. They were getting like 2 food every time I blocked. I was like, I can never get ahead here. This is awful. But yeah, it just doesn't feel like, it didn't feel great.
Yeah. Oh, that's a deck that we didn't talk about during the standard thing.
Boggles?
No, the sacrifice deck.
Oh yeah, like the red-black sacrifice deck. That deck's kind of a deck.
Yeah, that's kind of a deck.
So
I mean, that's a powerful engine.
It is and I guess mono black. I don't know if mono black will be around after the fact.
Yeah, mono black's already kind of not really around.
Yeah, I lost a few games to mono black.
Yeah.
With Golos. So if you don't know, like Cauldron Familiar drains when it comes into the battlefield.
Right.
So you sack it to Witchin's Oven.
Mm-hmm.
And they have some other like knick-knacky things. They have what's the stupid elf's name? The black elf. Ayara.
Yeah.
So when Cauldron Familiar comes into play, it triggers Ayara.
Right.
Then you can sack it to Ayara.
Yep.
To draw a card, and they also have a Midnight Rider.
Mm-hmm. So you draw a card
Midnight
when it
Reaper.
dies.
Yeah. So you draw a card. So you can just like, they can just draw a bunch of cards and like 2 Witches Ovens and a Cauldron Familiar. Like you just take so much damage each turn. It's just silly.
Yep.
So you're good. Bonus post rotation deck maybe.
Maybe.
And Red Black Sacrifice is the same kind of engine.
It uses Mayhem Devil, though.
Mayhem Devil as the way to like deal damage.
Yep.
But same kind of thing.
Yep.
I don't know which is better. Like the upside of like Iara is you're just swamps.
Yeah. I guess if you're just swamps, like you could Dread Presence too.
Yeah, you could Dread Presence. You can, but if you're just swamps, like I guess you give up a little bit of early game interaction. But I also had people like Epic Downfall me.
Yeah.
In Constructed, and I was like, what?
I've seen that in sideboards.
Like, why?
Yeah.
I guess it gets a Golos.
Mm-hmm. It's quite the world we're living in.
Dark times that you're like, well, this trash draft card like gets a Golos.
Yeah.
We're in. So there's kind of everything. Did we miss anything?
I don't think so. I think we did a pretty good job of wrapping up everything we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
We covered Arena. We covered New Standard. We covered how we got here.
Yeah. We got here because of Paul Cheon.
Thanks, Paul.
I blame Paul. Anyone who watches Magic on Twitch will get that reference.
Yeah.
Anyway, so with that, I see here that we are lonely old men who need friends. So please talk to us.
That is what I wrote in the show notes.
Yes. James's wife is out of town. He has no friends right now. So
just you, buddy.
Just me. Just me. So you can tweet at him at Casual Tripod.
Or you can send me a message on Facebook at Casual Tryhard MTG. Or you can email me at show@casualtryhardmtg.com. Or you can find us on YouTube at Casual Tryhard MTG.
Leave a comment. Like and subscribe.
Sure.
He needs some like and subscribe friends.
I need some contact, some personal contact. So talk to me.
He's so sad.
Yeah.
So
very sad and lonely and
old.
If
you have some standard Jund deck that he can play, let him know.
Hit me up. I'm in.
Yeah. If it's Grixis, get it out of here. But if it's Jund, I'm in.
Jund him out.
Jund him out. All right, and with that, we out.
We out. We'll see you at FNM.